What's up, everyone? Friday, February 3rd, 2017, and it's time to go to work on music. So today's been interesting. I'm really, I've been talking a lot about time management recently, and I've been really doing my best to try to get myself in a good system and a good rhythm, build some really good habits that support me really going super deep on the music front this year. And it's difficult to figure out where the right changes should go in my routine. I talked in last month a lot about some of the challenges I was having, and I try not to be I try to be as specific as I can, because ironically, I think the specific circumstances of our life can be quite relatable, and we all have challenges of some nature, you know, pretty much regardless of where we are and what our status is in our goals and certainly artistically. But today's been interesting. I'm really doing my best to invest in my physical assets like my body and make sure I'm taking really good care of that. And I'm doing a good job so far. And I'm experimenting with different ways of strength training and nutrition and rest and things like that to make sure that not only can I, you know, be exercising and getting stronger in a universal sense, but it also allows me enough physical bandwidth to really push myself during my practice sessions. And that can be difficult. I don't know that I would call myself like a physically oriented person by nature, although I think I'm starting to realize I really am. And so sometimes like the pushing myself in the physical realm um, can be. I think it's just going to take some tweaking. I don't want to like overthink it or over describe it or something like that, but I'm just tweaking it. So as a result, I got really off track with my timing today, and it's much later than I wanted to start my practice session, and I've got a bit of a deadline today. So today's going to be a shorter practice session, and I've been toying with the ideas of maybe just taking it easier on Fridays, because I usually work out pretty heavily on Thursday nights, and it usually goes pretty late. But I think I can do a better job of managing the variables in that equation and just getting to bed a little bit earlier, getting up a little bit earlier so that I have, I don't have to do a lot of physical stuff on Fridays, but there's so much I can do with classwork and production and learning and mixing and things like that that don't require a lot of physical exertion but do require time. So, sometimes it's those mistakes you make, like when you blow it. Uh, those mistakes are the things that end up pushing you to the next level. So I'm very hopeful that this is one of those situations, and we'll see. Um, but yeah, there's a lot going on in the world right now. There's a lot going on around me. I feel like a lot of people are very concerned, which I think is warranted. And it's funny how easy it is to lose perspective living in America because we have so much living here, so much freedom, so much ability to express ourselves, encouragement to express ourselves, and opportunity. Now, that's not true for everyone living in America, but it's generally much more true than many other countries in the world. Like, I was talking to someone from Vietnam yesterday, and she was like, "Yeah, I mean, if you protest in Vietnam like people are protesting here, like they just put you in jail." And I don't know if that's true. I mean, I don't want to spread any rumors if it isn't true, but just thinking about that really makes you realize, like, wow, all the basic stuff that we take for granted in our lives is so important. It is so important. And I actually got really inspired when I was thinking about it because I was like, man, I have this such a unique set of opportunities, and I am not capitalizing on it the way I want to. And don't get me wrong, like I'm putting in time, I'm improving every day, and that's awesome, and that's definitely a commendable thing. And it's not that I'm not proud of the time I am putting in; it's that I just know that there's this whole other level that I would like to be at and perform at and live at, and I'm realizing that that's going to require a whole new level of investment. And it's kind of scary because I feel that I already make a reasonable number of sacrifices to have the time that I do have for music, period. And the thought of carving out even more time and taking more of a personal and social hit to be in the lab more is a little scary, and I think I have some natural resistance to that, and that makes sense. I think that's a lot of times how that stuff works. It's just fear. But I'm starting to feel like now's the time that I ought to just do it. And I don't know that I'm ever going to be truly happy until I'm in that place. And the irony of it is, thinking about being in that place is really scary, but actually being in that place, while it's very challenging, is still enjoyable. And I was really in that place late last year. I mean, you can go back and watch the videos. I was putting 8 hours a day, and sometimes 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day. Now I'm more in like the 4 hour a day range or something, and it's a good balance. But I think I just need to do more, and I'm open to your guys' thoughts about that. I mean, I think there's a lot of opinions regarding, what's too much, too little, what's a healthy amount of time, to invest. But at the end of the day, you're the only person who knows the work that you need to put in, and you're the only person who can hold yourself accountable for that, and do what you have to do. And sometimes you got to do what you don't want to do to be who you want to be, and it's worth it. So many decisions in our lives have costs and benefits, and a lot of times the costs are so small you don't even think about them, but there's always a cost to every decision we make. And I think I just need to weigh that a little more carefully, and be a little bit more honest with myself about what it's going to take for me to get where I want to go. So it's a little bit sobering. I was talking about it a little bit in yesterday's video, and it's just worth thinking about, really, really worth thinking about, and maybe sitting down and having a heart-to-heart with yourself, like, you know what, man, you want to be here and your effort level's here, and it's the cold hard truth, man. Like, people who are out there winning at what you want to do, like, yeah, maybe they're more talented, maybe they have more resources, maybe they have every advantage in the book over you, then it's just unfair, which, honestly, guys, it probably is. But at the same time, maybe they're just outworking you, plain and simple. And if they do really indeed have those advantages, then you're going to have to work 100 times harder to overcome those disadvantages. But it is doable. I mean, no one said it was going to be easy. No one said it was going to be fun. Probably isn't. But it doesn't mean you can't enjoy the process, even if you're suffering a little bit, because that suffering is an investment. It's like every time I put money in the stock market, I think part of me is like, oh, I'd rather spend that money now. Of course. Like, we're all set up for instant gratification. I mean, just think about evolution. That makes so much sense. But that's not always the route to your long-term vision of yourself. And that's really what I'm up against right now, is managing my short-term payoffs and my long-term payoffs. And it's not an easy thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm incredibly grateful to have the opportunity to just do what I'm doing right now, like just be in a place where I'm not, my physical safety isn't compromised on a daily basis. I have food to eat. I can start to worry about this stuff that's really luxurious, like, oh, got to tweak my workout plan. Like, people don't really think about that as a luxury. That's a luxury. The opportunity to spend 4 hours a day doing music, that's a luxury, man. And don't get me wrong, like, don't even think for a moment that I take any of that for granted, man. I mean, there's been so much work that's gone in just to be here where I am. It's crazy. And that's what I'm talking about. It's like, wow, am I really going to be that person who just, like, shuts myself in a room permanently and just goes to work? Because honestly, I think that's what it's going to take, but I don't know until I do it, and it's all very speculative. So I think what I need to do is just dial up the investment, maybe right away, maybe gradually, but just dial it up, and just start to lean on the boundaries of my comfort zone a little bit more every day. Just push it a little more, push it a little more, push it a little more every day. And I know there's going to be days where I fall off, and I'm not proud of that. But, you know, life, it's not about making mistakes or avoiding pain or something like that. It's about taking your losses in stride and having a real character to take the loss and learn from it and take the high road and say, okay, I'm going to use this to be better. Like I'm going to use this negativity to create something positive in the world. And let's be honest, guys, the world is not going to be worse off if more people do that, or if you do that more than you're doing it right now. Like, it's just, the world's going to be better. It just is, for all of us, you included. So even if you're the most selfish person ever, like, just do it. Just do it anyway. Wow, I'm going deep, guys. Going deep. So yeah, on that note, you know, today's gonna be a shorter session. I am gonna get some time in. I'm gonna improve. I already improved earlier today. I mean, like I tell you guys, probably relatively regularly. You know, I practice every morning before I even hit the record button on the videos. But I'm gonna get some more time in now. It's not gonna be as extensive as a session as I would like. I'm going to really do my best to hold my feet to the fire on that going forward, and I'm gonna make this coming week the best week I can possibly make it. And I'm going to go write that down right now in my goal journal. I'm going to remind myself every day, like, it's not a game anymore. And I don't just want to say that, man. I don't just want to say, like, oh, it's not a game anymore, and then just, you know, go soft. But I think it's time to get a little more serious about this. And so yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. At any rate, I'm going to hit some guitar work. I don't know if I'm going to do any online classwork today for a couple different reasons, mostly just time related. And then it's probably the end of the session, but going to get some time in on the guitar. I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. My goal for tomorrow is to put in some major hours, make up for today, which will be good. And just, you know, feel the burn. Feel the burn. Sometimes you got to make it hurt to get the big shirt, you know. It's kind of a funny saying, but comes from like bodybuilding, you know. Sometimes you gotta push through the pain to get the real gains, if that makes sense. So, in this case, it's not physical pain, just to be clear, but it's more like the pain of managing yourself, you know, really reminding yourself, like, discipline is just remembering what you want, man. That's it. It's just reminding yourself constantly what you really want. And then it's easy to do what you have to do to get there. But if you lose sight of the big vision, man, yeah. So, I've been talking for a long time here on this video. I'm sorry. Let's get to it.